Good against a very good lineup. I mean, they make you establish the strike zone. They're tough to strike out. You know, they make you work, and that's why they're a great club, and they got a great lineup. So that was impressive what he did.
Technically, he's pitching a no-hitter. When does that come into play versus pitch count?
I mean, you notice it as the game goes on, but once he got to 100 and this time of the year, and he has to pitch on 1 day shorter rest next week, which we still in college baseball we get more than pro guys get, so they normally get a full week. But you know, he could throw next Friday, you know, at NC State. So, you know, I just said something to Coach Williams, and he was in agreement that really we just wanted him to get through Stewart, and we were going to go to Hensman after that, probably no matter what happened.
So if it was February, you might have stuck him out there a little bit longer?
I don't know about February, just because that's early in the year. But no, if it was maybe 6-8 weeks ago, you know, which I don't know, is that February or March? You know, maybe sometime in the middle of the season, maybe you could ride him for another inning, but just at this time of the year, you can't.
He comes out and gets a standing ovation, and the crowd recognizes just how good he is.
Yeah, I love to see that. I mean, as I always say, the fans make it. And last night was an unbelievable crowd. Today was a great crowd. So it's fun to, you know, play good in front of them and let the kids feel their presence.
How does it mean to you to win another conference title in another different conference?
I mean, just the landscape. It's just, you know, Louisville's used to bouncing, you know, from conference to conference all the way to the ACC. And when you think of that, there's a lot of people you have to thank. There's a lot of people, you know, from Tom Jurge, Dr. Ramsey on up, who have fought hard and long to get Louisville to where we're at right now. So, you know, just honored to be a part of it. And like Tom always says, just hungry and humble, you know, very appreciative, you know, for everything that's happened. But we got to come out tomorrow, keep our head down, and there's a lot of baseball left to play.
How nice after last night, though, to see them come out and early on, the emotion and the aggression.
It's very good because it just it shows your toughness. I challenged this group at the beginning of the year. I mean, in the ACC, you're going to get beat up. You're going to have some ugly-looking games. That's what happens when you play in a really good baseball league. But then you got to have a short-term memory, and you got to be mature enough and tough enough to as we say, next. And so after last night, with the crowd and the atmosphere and everybody knowing what was at stake, that was impressive for them to come out with that kind of focus today.
Hit some big hits in big situations today.
Well, on the bottom of the lineup, and some guys that didn't start last night. You know, Danny Rosenbaum in that inning, that base hit was huge when we weren't able to execute the bunt and get guys in running, scoring position. And then Colby Fitch, you know, for Colby to hit a triple down the left field line, you know, something's got to be going right. So it's nice. I always say our depth is our strength, and guys that work hard, and they're not in the lineup every day, but they're very talented, and we trust them. And when they're out there, they give us a chance to win.
Win this conference in the first year, what does it say about you guys?
Just the culture. This goes back to, I mean, the Justin Marks generation and the Pitts and the Magnusons, but especially the last 4 years, the Jeffrey Thompsons and the Amlungs and the Ingles. And, you know, there's been a certain culture here that when Sutton was a freshman, that they kind of picked up, and Lucas and those guys, and here they are as seniors, and they've kept the culture going. So I give a lot of credit to the players, and especially the older guys.
That appeal to first base on what could have been the double. Have you seen that? Has that call been overturned recently?
I mean, you see everything. I mean, the longer you're around the game, I mean, you know, you get to see it all, and it just shows a lot of maturity on Rosenbaum's part. That's his job to make sure the guy touches the base. And you know, last week at Clemson, he got a guy who ran past first and turned one step to second, and he ran down and tagged him, and the umpire called him out, because the rule is you take one step to second, doesn't matter how intentional it looks. And Danny's been locked in. I mean, that's impressive, you know, for him to be focused on defense. So I'm proud of him.
One more from Coach.
You've been kind of consistent with your routine, the pitching rotation. Could he become your Friday night guy?
McKay?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I mean, you know, there's a certain responsibility that comes in throwing that first game. And we're talking next year, I'd say he's got a good chance. But, you know, we're not going to give up on Funk because he's had a couple tough outings. I mean, you got to remember, when you throw on Friday, you're going against their best two. So, you know, sometimes the record's not going to necessarily show. But, you know, Funk sets the tone. He's still the cowbell. And we're going to need him. We're going to need him to pitch well down the stretch in the conference tournament and in the postseason.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
you.